title card la naanga pathom inspired from a moment in Godfather.
Even before I started writing this, I wanted to derive from that moment and make a film.
How was it working with Simbu?
I've lost big cinematographers' dates because Simbu hasn't turned up and stuff like that. So with Simbu, you go through that roller coaster ride. You know, you're angry with him because he's pushed the schedule or.
How is it with Naga Chaitanya on the contrast?
My initial idea was to shoot with Simbu and then shoot with Che on any given day. I mean.
Right. In the film that you thought it was very difficult to crack while you were writing?
The climax sequence was actually planned as something much bigger than what you actually see on screen. There was a lot more layers to that. But it ended up being set up in the dubbing suite, and which I didn't like, and it bothered me.
What was the other idea you had for this film?
No, I wanted to kill Manjuma, the character, at some point, and then I thought, let's not do that.
Okay.
You know, once the gunshot happens, I won't show her at all. Or she kept begging me, sir, don't kill me, and stuff like that.
It's an experiment.
Whenever I discussed that all the songs will be in the first half, everybody around me would say, are you sure? You know, let's have a song in the second half and stuff. Everybody said put the song there, but I was very clear because I said I inspired Rahman sir by telling him this situation, so I don't want to move the song to the other place and stuff.
Did you feel that the film was not everyone's cup of tea?
I always know that in an audience of 100 people you can satisfy. If you satisfy 70 people and they like the film, then that's half the battle won.
You shot 5 montages for your next film with Dhanush.
And I know how busy he is. I know the directors who wait there. They're all in much bigger league than what I am in. So
I'm also thrilled that you're going to be working with Surya, going by your Twitter chat and your conversation.
Both of us had some issues with producers and stuff.
Last year we heard that you were in talks with Ram Charan and Mahesh Babu for a film.
Almost went into a production with Ram Charan, and I don't know what happened after that. Mahesh Babu we keep discussing. Even now I've got an opportunity to write something to him. Joni NTR is also somebody I'm really hoping and keen to work with. Prabhas. Nani is somebody whom I really like, and Saidaram Tej is the other very interesting prospect for me.
Left. I'm living for the weekends. Left.
Hi Gautham sir, thanks for joining me on Zoom In with Vrinda, and such a pleasure to have you here in Hyderabad. And how are you feeling? Sigh of relief? Both the films are doing really well, AYM and SSS, so are you breathing?
I know AYM is doing really well.
Right.
I need to still check on SSS. I think the producer keeps telling me that this demonetization has affected the morning shows and stuff like that. But the reports from the audience is very good, is what he's saying. So coming from Chennai, I've been at many theatres and checked on the collections and stuff like that. It's been really very good, if not rock solid, I should say. And there's been lots of online booking and stuff like that. I'm happy because when I saw the shows in most theatres, we got uniform kind of reaction from across every theatre. Wherever we thought there'd be peals of laughter, where we thought there'll be applause, and then where the crowd will go really silent and stuff is what we saw in all these theatres. And there is certain magic in the theatres. And having spoken to a few people here, I know it's the same here. But just in terms of collections, I'm not sure as yet.
Right. So Tamil enna reason, what could be the reason that it's doing so well? Because the economy is like all...
See, the thing is, I know the reactions from the audience will be the same. Because Raki called me and said, sir, idhukla kai tattranga. And I saw that for Satish there. Namma idhukku edirpaakavilla illa sir, but inga kai tattranga, he said. Tamil is in my control as a language, so I know for those lines and the way we made Satish speak, angela kai thattu varum illa oru laughter irukku enakku theriyum. But for Raki to say ingiyum adhe maari da irukundradhula, I know that it will be uniform across both the languages, both the states and stuff like that. In terms of money is what I'm not so sure, Here, I need to still speak to the producer. He seems happy, so I'm hoping. I think the economic situation across the country is the same. It's not like it's better in Tamil Nadu and more people have money and in Andhra, people don't have. In fact, it should be the other way around if at all you ask me. So it should be fine is what I'm saying. Right. And there are no big films releasing this week also.
Yeah, so you have another week.
Yeah.
So action, drama and romance, romba nalla club pannirkinga. What is it about this that you keep revisiting in your films? All your films almost you revisit both these genres.
in this, I wanted to straddle both the genres in one film, and I think the question comes up only because we have an interval and a post-interval, a first half and a second half, right? We're tuned to that kind of cinema. Otherwise, it's just one flow of character and on his journey, and not just the road trip, I mean, his journey of life itself. You see him coming across various things, and that's what I wanted to sort of narrate. More than any other film, this one is a story of one particular guy. Like Vaaranam Aayiram was there, where there was you start with this guy, his birth, and where he lives and what happens to him at some point. So in that sense, it's the same story. But here, it's more about being in a situation and knowing whether you'll be able to handle it or not. So a simple fight with some boys, who sort of tried to come after his sister, and how he handled it seems to be the high point in his life at one point.
Yeah.
And then 3-4 years down the line, something even more bizarre comes up, and is he able to handle it or not? But that confidence that he got when he handled those few friends on the street sort of works on him to handle this situation even better. So it's just it's every man's journey actually. When you're thrown into a moment, are you able to handle it or not? So I think that was the idea of approaching this. So in that journey, you will see love, you will see some emotion, you will see some laughter, moments with the family, you will see one friendship, one bonding, and then you will see pain, and you will see violence being thrown at you. So that was a journey actually.
Right. So title card la nanga pathom inspired from a moment in Godfather. You had that title card. So is it about Simbu and Naga Chaitanya actually trying to save the life of Leela and her parents, or what is the?
No, it is more the moment with the cop at the hospital actually.
Okay.
That was the moment that even before I started writing this, I wanted to derive from that moment and make a film. Where in The Godfather, Al Pacino stands outside this hospital. His father is badly wounded and almost dying.
Yeah.
And the cops come in and clear out everybody. So they can send in a team to probably take the father out in the hospital. And he stands facing the police commissioner, McCluskey, and that guy hits him.
Right.
And that blow sort of changes his entire life. So I wanted to recreate that moment and work a script around that. But then I started my storytelling from the story of a normal guy, engineering, MBA grad, who's at home. He's got sisters, he's got a dad and mom, he's got friends. And when this girl comes to stay in his house, you see snatches of their conversation. And then what happens to him?
So the story germinated then, like you
Yeah.
started writing from with that thought.
And I wanted to be the transformation of this character, right? I wanted it to not end, but at some point, he becomes what he becomes at the end of the film.
Right.
Yeah.
So you said in an earlier interview that Kaakha Kaakha, Yennai Arindhaal or Vettiyadu Villiyadu is a trilogy, at least in your mind. Is it the same with AYM and Vinnaithaandi Varuvaayaa? What happens to these to this genre 5 or 10 years later?
In that sense, the trilogy was complete, but this is more like a sequel, a prequel to all these films.
Oh.
Vinnaithaandi Varuvaaya's Karthik and Achcham Yenbadhu's hero, the protagonist, could be the same guy. His passion was films. There were bikes and stuff like that. He also had friends. It's a similar kind of a setting, except this is somebody else, and what he becomes, it ends up becoming a prequel to all the films that you mentioned, if you look at it that way.
Okay.
You don't know Anbachelvan's story before we showed him for the first time on screen in Kaakha Kaakha. You see him sitting in his house. He's a loner. He's alone. He's all by himself. And he says, I made sure there's nobody around me because of my work. And at the minute, I start to like somebody, or I bring somebody into my fold, I know there could be danger about them.
Yeah.
That's how the film starts. But what Anbachelvan was before that moment, you don't see. It could be the protagonist from Achcham Yenbadhu Madamaiyada actually.
Yeah.
This film ends where Kaakha Kaakha starts actually.
Right.
In that sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Simbu. You said that he's a one-take artist, and you also are like good friends. How was it working with Simbu for this film?
With Simbu, it's a roller coaster ride. So you have great moments, and those are moments when he's on the sets and when he's performing in front of a candid camera sort of a thing. You just let him be, and he gives you the best, which you don't find with many others actually. It's a very easy performance. He's also very friendly with everybody on the sets, and it's all very light and happy when he's there. When he's not there, it's completely the opposite. There's lots of wait period, and we're waiting endlessly. People get edgy and tense. I've lost big cinematographers' dates because Simbu hasn't turned up and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, I saw four cards.
Yeah,
so
exactly. And which ideally you don't want to do in a film, right? So
right.
I lost Dan MacArthur's dates because at one point, we just kept cancelling schedules and stuff.
Okay, so did his visa expire or something? Or
Yeah,
work
exactly.
permit?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's from Australia, so
Yeah.
we had to keep sending him back. And they're not used to our kind of a living, right? So they need to keep going back. It's comfort for them more than anything else. So with Simbu, you go through that roller coaster ride. You're angry with him because he's pushed the schedule or he's coming late that day. But then when he comes in, you forget all that and immediately you go through various other emotions with him.
Right.
And you're looking at working on your next film also with him. So I think that's what everybody associated with Simbu will go through. Even outside, even not in front of the camera, I mean, even outside the camera. I'm sure his friends and the people with him also go through the same kind of emotions. You can't help that.
Right. How is it with Naga Chaitanya on the contrast?
It was only good fun and lots of respect and stuff like that. I mean, he's very on the ball. He's there all the time. My initial idea was to shoot with Simbu and then shoot with Che on any given day. I mean,
Right.
but it never worked out like that. So I always ended up shooting with Che first and then with Simbu.
Right.
And I had to waste some of his dates
Right.
because of the wait for Simbu. And then at some point he had to move on to another film. And then because of which I couldn't get him the look that I wanted, which is why in the climax sequence, he's with the beard and stuff. So ideally these are not things that I'd like to do, but beyond a point I was just like, let's just get this film done, and that probably reflects on screen at some.
So what are your conversations like with Simbu?
Lots of conversation about life, about God, lots of philosophy, lots of universe,
Right.
fans. I don't care if anybody is not there for me. So you go through a whole wave with him.
Right.
A lot of ups and downs with him. I'm just there. I'm just a shoulder for him to lean on if you wanted to use me as that. I'm a good listener. I hate talking. I like to listen, and he would just generally talk. I'm telling you, the minute he walks in, you can't be angry with him. You can't be irritated with him. Because he'll do something to the sets that day. He'll do something on camera, some line he'll add or some expression which everybody will be floored by or with, and then you just take it forward. So I have a team that works to get him from home, and a team that sort of makes sure he's okay on the sets,
Right.
and a team that sends him back home every day.
Being a friend, what do you think is the reason that stops him from,
And I wish I knew, because if I knew the reason, then I'd probably crack it and tell him, right?
Yeah.
Initially I thought it was lethargy, just, he's been acting for a time, he's 6 months old.
Right.
So he's seen it all. Then after a point I thought maybe he's not so much interested in the screenplay. Because there's another film that he picked up right now, it's called AAA or something, and AAA.
Yeah.
And he's gone properly for shoot on that film, all 15-20 days. So I started thinking maybe he likes that script better, maybe that
Or
screenplay
is
works
it
better.
because,
Maybe he vibes better with people there and stuff, but that's not true at some point. So you really don't know, and beyond a point you don't want to give it so much thought. I really can't fathom, why, seriously.
okay. So is there a scene in the film that you thought it was very difficult to crack while you were writing? Like, did you reach a deadlock?
Nothing while writing. So the climax sequence was actually planned as something much bigger than what you actually see on screen. There was a lot more layers to that. But it ended up being set up in the dubbing suite, and which I didn't like, and it bothered me. And I think that's the problem with the film that people are talking about right now. I wanted to shoot a lot more, and strangely I couldn't shoot with Che also, because he also couldn't give me dates. Premam was happening, we had issues with the producer there. We requested, but dates were not being given. He had to come in the beard. There were actually training shots and shots of him investigating, and all that was there.
Right.
But I couldn't shoot all that. So in terms of writing, there was never a roadblock or a dead end or anything, and I always take it forward, little by little and stuff like that. In terms of filming, yes, some scenes were a little difficult to crack. If you notice, the film has one taxi sequence that that runs, and she's at the back and he's in the front, and you have to shoot it interestingly. There's a sequence where a house is under siege. People are shooting from outside the house through the window, and the people dying and stuff like that, and the hero's reactions, the heroine's reactions, the other actors. that was a very complicated shoot. So, but you know, you never shy away from stuff like that.
Right. Manjima recently, during her Twitter chat, said that the scene where she was shot and she's in the car with Chaitanya or
Yeah.
Simbu was very tough for her.
Yeah.
Did you actually have a conversation
Yeah,
about it?
So
what
we
what
shot
was
it,
tough about?
We shot it completely separately in the sense. I mean, I shouldn't be saying this now, but it was never with the. There was no combination there. So it was just me driving the taxi with the camera inside and talking to Manjima, who was lying at the back of the car. A lot of conversation. I was giving her Simbu / Chase lines, and she was reacting. Kept telling her to cry to a large extent. She had to show pain of the bullet wound and stuff like that, right? So, but at the end of it all, there was lots of laughter on the sets, and then come back into the mood again, make her cry some more and stuff like that. It was good fun. Yeah.
Right. So you've always maintained that you never write your climax. So did that happen with this film as well? Did you?
Yeah, the thing is, see, somewhere I know where I'm going. I'm very sure of that. I don't write it because I still want to toy around with it. And normally when I write something, that becomes my first draft, and that becomes my only draft, and I just go ahead and shoot it. So just that bit alone, I want to see how the character, you know, sort of develops through the actor. And both of them, or maybe let's not even talk about both of them. Let's say Simbu, he does something to the characterization, right? With the expression, with his body language. So that helps me a lot to sort of take a couple of scenes forward. So I kind of leave things like that open. But there's never been a position where, you know, production was delayed because of me not delivering the scenes at that point and stuff like that. I don't think there's ever been a time like that. I always know where I'm going, and I deliver when it needs to be done.
Right.
Certain actors might want it bound and, you know, completely done, and maybe at that time I will probably deliver, but right now it's in my space, my comfort zone, and that's how I'd like to work.
So is there always like three different ideas playing in your mind for your climax? Okay.
Yes.
What was the other idea you had for this film?
No, I wanted to kill Manjima, the character, at some point, and then I thought, let's not do that.
Okay.
I wanted to keep Mahesh alive, but actually speaking, the artist dates determined that a lot for me. So Satish, who did the Tamil role, was not available beyond a point.
Okay. Yeah.
So that call to take this route happened on that particular day.
Okay.
And then I went back and I wrote it because I knew he's not going to be available for the next 10 days.
Yeah.
Whereas there could have been a possibility of taking it forward and then have 3 of them on the run kind of a thing. And then I toyed with, like, I never told anybody what I'm going to do with the climax. Manjima kept thinking that, you know, once the gunshot happens, I won't show her at all. Or she kept begging me, sir, don't kill me and stuff like that. So it was good fun for me, you know, but I always knew what you see on screen right now is what I knew at one point, and I thought I'll do it. Except the way the climax is shown on screen, which could have been a little differently done.
Right. So Manjima was amazing in the film. Did you have to work a lot on her? Was it easier to work with her because she's also worked while she was a child, right?
Yeah, very easy it was.
Right.
Lots of talking, giving her the mood, the flavor and everything, but was never difficult, and she managed, even though Tamil and Telugu are not her natural languages, and Telugu not at all actually, she still managed to pull off the lines with the proper lip sync and stuff like that. And for Tamil she managed to dub also, you know, for herself, not in Telugu, but in Tamil she dubbed for herself. Yeah.
Right. So the best part about the film was Tallipogade Velipomake, the way you've actually picturized that song. Tell us about what was the idea behind?
It was always meant to be that on paper, and when we sat for composing with Rahman sir, I clearly gave him an idea that this is what it will be. I remember even telling him that as the impact happens and when they are thrown off the bike, we cut to shots of them flying in the air, holding each other and twirling and stuff like that, you know. So he was inspired by that to compose this tune, which came a little later. And he told me we will do a string melody, and I've got this rap thrown in and stuff, and just write lyrics. And when I sat with both the lyricists, first the Tamil version and then Srijo on the Telugu version, I was very clear about what I wanted because that's the mood of the song. And then the Tamil lyricist came up with some fantastic stuff which I talked to the Telugu lyricist about and made him write on similar lines and stuff. And when Rahman sir read the lines, he didn't think twice about going for recording straight away. He said, let's just record with Sid Sriram, and that's how, you know. And filming that was interesting because we filmed the accident, and the accident is filmed knowing that the song is going to be over that. And then of course we didn't get time to shoot with both the actors, and somehow strangely we managed to get one nice location going for us, and we thought we'll take everybody there and shoot. But the Tamil hero didn't turn up, and it was only Che. So we just ended up shooting the Telugu version, and then much later, almost 2-3 months later, we ended up filming the Tamil song. Yeah.
Right. So you had it in paper when you actually
Went to shoot?
envisioned it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Already, okay.
Absolutely. And then once the lyrics came about and once the music was done, you have to rework what is there on paper to stretch and work it into the song, right? So each line was given a sort of a visual and each sound was given a visual and we put that on paper and we went to Turkey and we shot that.
Okay. So you didn't shoot this in Turkey with Simbu, right?
We
you
did.
shot it in Bangkok.
Yeah,
is it?
separately.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right. So how different is the Tamil and the Telugu version? We see like there are little more romantic scenes in lip lock in Tamil, but it's not there in the Telugu.
No, there's no
lip lock, is it? Okay.
I think that one particular shot looks like it, but
okay, because we saw the Telugu version. Is there any difference at all? Or?
No. In terms of the song alone per se, we got some really beautiful locations for the Telugu song.
Right.
For the Tamil song, we just want to get it done and move on, you know. But so within what we got, we tried and made it look as good as possible. In terms of the rest of the film, there's no major difference except the performance of the actors and one or two scenes, you know, with small, some minor differences. That's all.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you were in Hyderabad during promotions, you said that it's an experiment.
Yeah.
So what was the concern there?
I mean, the concern was never mine. I think the experiment was because there are two halves in a film, and whenever I discussed that all the songs will be in the first half, everybody around me would say, "Are you sure? Let's have a song in the second half and stuff."
But the transition was great, actually.
Yeah. Which I always knew, and I wanted it to be that way.
Right.
I wanted the songs to be, and I was very clear, and I kept telling them for the songs to work as back-to-back songs, they should be big hits. So we focused on getting those songs to be big hits. So it worked to our advantage that we released the songs much earlier and the film released like 6 months later. So most of the songs grew on the audience.
Right.
So like when Chakku Rasali starts, there is an applause that you can hear through the theatre.
Right.
When Tallipogade starts, there's chaos in the theatre. You know, so for every song there is some recognition. People have listened to the songs and they've come to the theatre, which really worked because they want to see the picturization.
Right.
Even Avalum Nanam. The second half has no songs. It was never meant to be any song. When Tallipogade became very popular, some of my team members said, shift Tallipogade to the second half and Manjuma proposes to, or when Manjuma accepts her love for Simbu, right? Or Che.
Yeah.
Everybody said put the song there, but I was very clear because I said I inspired Rahman sir by telling him this situation, so I don't want to move the song to the other place and stuff. So
did you feel that the film was not everyone's cup of tea?
I never think like that. I always hope and pray that it works with everybody and across everybody and stuff. But I always know that in an audience of 100 people you can satisfy. If you satisfy 70 people and they like the film, then that's half the battle won. Or that's in today's case full. Most of the battle won. I would say. So I'm sure a lot of people have issues with a lot of things in the film. But when they leave the theatre, what they take is what I'm more interested about.
Right. Talking about Rahman, you always had a great relation with him, and with this film, what were your conversations like?
See, my interactions with Rahman had me go through without being religious, a very spiritual form or way is what I felt and experienced whenever I interact with him. And that comes only with a few people. There's no talk about, I'm not saying there's any talk about philosophy or God or anything like that, but somewhere in that area when you enter, when you interact with him, and when he puts his hand on a keyboard or a piano, and when music is played for you in his sound system and stuff, I feel very spiritual. I feel like I'm in some zone actually, which I've not felt in many other places. And he is very, very down to earth. He keeps you very comfortable, and there's minimum conversation but interesting conversation. There's no discussion about the film industry and what is working and who's this, who's that. There's nothing like that. It's only about the film, or as individuals we connect.
Right. Is it because of that you get the best album always?
I'm not sure. What I tell him is exactly what I have on paper, and I just don't tell him give me one love song here or a road trip song. There's a lot of discussion that goes on into what can be in this song. And lyricist is brought in also, and discussion happens by saying this is a road trip song. Why don't we have this imaginary bird flying overhead, and let's discuss if there could be like a race between the bird and him, and she's beside him, and who's going to say this is love first and stuff like that. So conversations are all pointing towards what the song can be and what the mood of the film can be. We watched the whole film together once the film was done, and he kept smiling and appreciating right through. When the hospital sequences played out, I know he looked at me and said, "Very gripping it is," he said.
Right.
And once he finished the film, he was amused at the name of the protagonist and the climax and all that. Once we finished the film, he said, I'm going to try some electronic music here, and we'll play with Tallipogade and this and that. So it's pretty much what he said at that day, that night, is at 4 o'clock in the morning, is what he's worked as background score in the film.
Right.
So it was a great experience for me, and today people are talking about the background score actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Talking about background score, that moment before the accident, there's that BG, right? Like everybody kind of felt that there is something that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Did you want to keep that
Yeah.
background score, or like
Yes,
were the
yes.
discussions about?
No. When he watches the film, there's a lot of silence, right?
Yeah.
There's no music at all.
Yeah.
So then he picked 3-4 points, and I told him this point can be this. And at this point, I said, let Tallipogade not start at all. There's going to be a voiceover, but some sort of a feel that something is going to happen can come through was the brief.
Okay,
given.
so you already.
Yeah, the brief was like that. And certain other places, like when he steps out of the house to show the girl the bike, the suggestion to put Shokali back there, So there's a lot of discussion that happens now and then, and while the reel is being worked on.
Right.
Yeah.
So what did Simbu watch the film with you?
Simbu, as in the final film?
Yeah,
No, he
no.
didn't come to the theatres in the first 2 days.
Okay.
But apparently yesterday he went to the theatre and he watched the film by
Yeah, I
himself.
saw his periscope.
Yeah.
Right. I saw one of your interviews recently which said that you shot 5 montages for your next film with Dhanush already without having a composer.
Songs, you mean?
Yeah,
right?
5 songs.
Yeah.
That's quite a risk, or probably
I
very
hope-
unconventional, right?
Yeah.
Why
I
did-
hope it comes out well. I waited for Rahman sir to come on board for a very long time, but I know he was also very busy, and I've never pushed Rahman sir for a song
Right.
or time. Whenever he's called me, and I'm saying it in a very in a humble way. I'm not saying it like he called me. I know how busy he is. I check with his teammates and stuff, like he's traveling, he's working on this, he's working on that. There are concerts and stuff. So somewhere one day I'll send him an email saying, "Sir, at some point if you're free, let me know. This is coming up only like 4 weeks later or 5 weeks later." And within that 4 weeks, he'll call me one day.
Right.
And he will say, "Let's sit together and bring Tamarai or come and we'll work a song out." So likewise, I didn't push him for the Dhanush film at all.
Right.
He knew somewhere it's there, and he was busy. He's also doing his own production, which he's written and stuff like that. So I didn't want to push him for my work. And I know how busy he is. I know the directors who wait there, and they're all in much bigger league than what I am in. So not that it matters to him, I'm saying. So in that sense, I didn't push him at all. But my dates also with Dhanush was was running by and stuff, and we were shooting.
Yeah.
So I told him, if you don't mind if I just shoot these songs, because I know what I want, and I'll ask him. He said, "Please go ahead, let's just shoot," he said. So almost 5 songs we shot like that, with as montages, with a reference song playing either in my head or on location itself. And we've got 5 songs as visuals right now, for which hopefully there will be a song that will come in from somebody at some point.
Okay, but it won't be Rahman.
I don't know as yet.
Okay, you don't know as yet. Okay. So I'm also thrilled that you're going to be working with Surya, going by your Twitter chat and your conversation. So is it going to be Dhruva Nakshatram, or you have some other?
No, nothing is
script in
confirmed.
mind?
We were almost going in for a particular date, but then by then I think that both of us had some issues with producers and stuff like that. So he's doing that film with Vignesh Sivan right now, and then I'm also starting something other than that, know. But we at least in discussion, we texting each other, and at some point something will happen. Nothing concrete right now. We don't know what we're doing.
Right. So recently, Vaaranam Aayiram also celebrated 8 years,
Yesterday,
right? Yeah, yesterday. So what were your memories from that film?
Actually, I knew the film released on that date when I left from home in the morning itself. But by evening, there was so much of talk on Twitter and the social media, 8
Already
years of
trending,
Vaaranam and stuff like that. And somebody texted me saying you should put a word out. So I just thought it makes sense to sort of thank Surya, because it was largely due to him that the film even happened.
Yeah.
If he had said no, and if he didn't like the idea of a very personal idea, that film wouldn't have happened at all. It would have been some other script. So I thought I should just thank him for 8 years of Vaaranam and how people are still talking about it. And he tweeted back saying, fond memories and thank you and stuff like that.
Right.
And then a lot of other people, Divya Spandana also tweeted, I think. So it's a film that's very close to me still, because I just want to relive moments, that I had seen with my father, and I wanted to sort of just capture that and store it on a DVD or inside a shelf somewhere, And whenever it plays on TV, I sit and watch probably half an hour, 45 minutes. At home, they find it very difficult to watch even now, So when Vaaranam Aayiram plays, nobody else watches.
Really?
Yeah. But I kind of managed to watch for about half an hour, 45 minutes and stuff. So that way it's still, very
Emotional
close.
for
Yeah.
him, right? So you and Surya have been like a lethal combination. So what can we expect if you come together?
We want to do something interesting. That's why the earlier film didn't happen from his side, because he felt it's too international a subject or too alien a subject for our audience to understand. Let's make something for the people here. So hopefully there'll be a splattering of love, and he's a really good-looking guy. So and the idea of getting some nice songs with Surya featuring in it, is what I'm sure lots of girls all over the world would like. Those who follow Tamil cinema, I'm saying. So why not play to the hilt with that is what I'm thinking.
Right. So last year we heard that you were in talks with Ram Charan and Mahesh Babu for a film. So is that still on? Are we going to see more of you in future in Telugu films?
Yeah, I want to. There are these huge actors who stars here, and so much of crowd adulation for them. And besides all that, I want to make something different with them. Almost went into a production with Ram Charan, and I don't know what happened after that. Mahesh Babu, we keep discussing. Even now, I've got an opportunity to narrate something to him. Hopefully, Mahesh Babu, Ram Charan, Allu Arjun, NTR, Joni NTR is also somebody I'm really hoping and keen to work with. Prabhas, and of course Naga Chaitanya is always there.
Yeah.
Nani is somebody whom I really like, and I had a great time working with him on Yeto Vellipoyindhi,
Yeah.
and I know what he's capable of. I want to do something different with him also. So Sai Dharam Tej is the other very interesting
guy,
prospect for me. A lot of people like him here. We almost did a film together. So there's some
You
really
were
good.
in talks with Tej for
Yes.
your
So hopefully with all of them at some point.
Right. So is anything locked?
Nothing is
there?
locked. Nothing is locked in as yet.
Right. What's coming up next? More romance and action, or are you planning to straddle any other genre?
No. The next one is, if it falls in place, it'll be a very state-of-the-art action film with some love thrown in, I think. And I'm just writing it, and I have a narration coming up in a few days, and probably the announcement will come very soon.
Great. Thanks so much, sir. It was a great conversation. I hope you enjoyed it too.
Thank you, Vrinda.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.